Welcome to the Fail Forward podcast. The purpose of this podcast is change the negative stigma around failure into a positive. Failure is only a negative if we do not learn from it and we give up. Welcome back to the Fail Forward podcast. So today I'm going to be talking about the importance of goal setting or target setting and what that does for your business, or not just your business, but your personal life and your life in general. So going back to pre everything going under, it's one thing that before I started doing self-development and learning about business, I actually did quite well. Every year on holiday, me and Sarah would talk about where we want to be the following year and the things that we wanted to achieve that year. And I used to write it down on a notes on my iPhone, and each holiday would then review the previous year. And one thing that always happened is that we would get somewhere close to the targets, and it would be things like the amount of revenue I'd want to produce within the business, the amount of teams that I want out, how many holidays we'd go on, the things we'd want to do in our personal life, whether it was bands we want to go and see or festivals we want to go to or different restaurants we want to eat at, or whatever it is that we wanted to achieve that year. We would write down and go, this is what we want to do next year. And miraculously, those things happened. And it's something that we did well was the goal setting. Now, some of the goal setting wasn't as defined as I'd like it to be, or now learnt about the power of goal setting, actually being more defined with numbers and dates by when you want them to be by, which I'll go into. But with goal setting, it's really important because like a saying that I always say to my mentees on my mastermind that I've got, I run a tree surgery business owners mastermind group, which is a peer-to-peer support group that I help and tree surgery business basically grow and scale their businesses. We do a 90-day planning session, one-to-one every quarter, where we actually go into the depths of what I'm going to talk about today. But one of the things I say to them is you wouldn't drive to Scotland without a TomTom or a map. You always want to know where you're going, and that's the same for business, because you don't want to get lost. And in business, you can get lost. Days happen. Generally in business, you're constantly putting out fires, you're working, and it's the same with life. And before you know it, you go, where did the last 3 months go? Where does the last month go? Where did the last year go? And before you know it, time just flies by. And if you're not knowing where you're going, then you can easily get lost in the day-to-day grind and being in the trenches and getting the business stuff done, the operation and the delivery, and you're not actually getting any close to where you actually want to go. And now you might be thinking, well, I know where I want to go. I want to have a Ferrari and a yacht and a house, and but that might be in your head, but you really need to write these goals down and then work back. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today, really, the importance of goal setting and doing essentially what I do with my mentees on the Tree Surgery Mastermind, which is do this every 90 days and plan every 90 days what the next 90 days are going to look like. But you can't plan 90 days without knowing where you want to be in 5 years and then producing that into a year target and then rolling back to 90 days. And the reason why I say 90 days, and I've said it before, I think, in this podcast, but 90 days, you can change your life. If you're not happy right now with something in your life, then you can set the motions in place to start changing it. You could lose weight, you could quit drinking, you could start a new hobby, do something different in your life. Now, what you do today might not change tomorrow, but with the compound effect, if you change the way you're doing something daily and keep that going, then you're going to get the compound effect. And that can work in two ways, a compound effect. It can work in a positive way or a negative way. Like if you, for example, overeat for the next 90 days, then you're going to put weight on. If you eat a little bit less calories every day, you're going to lose weight. And that's the power of the compound effect. And that's why I talk about working in 90-day cycles. Not only on top of that, it's actually been studied that to change a habit, it takes to start off with 21 days, but to really change a habit, it's actually 63 days. So it's 3 cycles of 21 days to really change a habit. So in 90 days, you can change a habit. And that's kind of why I work in those 90-day cycles. This is not just only about business. This is about personal life, that you work in 90-day cycles. So how do you go about creating a goal and a plan for your weekly tasks? So I always ask my mentees to look at, what is your 5-year plan? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And we always start with, you've got to have something that's tangible, like a number that you can work towards. Now, your goal is something that you want to get to in the future. And I certainly know, if anyone knows disc profiling, some people will find it easy to look and set a goal to 5 years in the future, and some people might find it more difficult. Like if you're an extrovert and you're maybe a D or an I, you might really enjoy goal setting because you're in that point of like thinking, yes, this is a place I want to be in the future and I can see myself being there. I don't know how I'm going to get there yet, but that's where I want to get to. But if you're probably a C or an S, then you like detail and you like things to be more detailed, and it might be quite scary to look at a goal in the future because you're thinking, well, I need to know exactly how I'm going to get there. But what you need to be able to do is set that goal so you can work back on how to get there. And goals change, so this is a constant review purpose, but you've got to know where you're going to. So then you need to know what your revenue is going to look like in 5 years, what your profit's going to look in 5 years, what are you going to have within your business, what are you going to have within your life, what holidays, and having things like the amount of, not just saying I want to work less, saying I want to work 4 days, or I only want to work 3 days a week, and I want to have 4 holidays, and I want to have 4 2-week holidays, and really trying to define those numbers, because once you get that 5-year goal, you can then work that back and break that up into bite-sized chunks. So once you set your 5-year goal, you want to have that defined and written down. You then break that down into your 1-year goal. So your 1-year goal is a lot closer now. A year is not that far away, but you can break your 5-year goal up into smaller bite-sized chunks to get your 1-year goal. And your 1-year goal will maybe, like, if I want to turn over $1 million in 5 years' time, my 1-year goal will be, well, I need to then break that down into 5. So I need to make 200,000 in the next year, and I want to have 3 staff working for me, because in 5 years I want 15, or however you go about breaking it down. But it's a lot more achievable in that 1 year to break that down to a 1-year goal. And then this is where we really start working out what I now call the 90-day plan, because you've got to work out to get to where you want to go to in that year, that 90-day plan. And this is really where you can start working out what you need to be doing on a daily basis. So your 90-day plan will be, if say I want to make 200,000, what do I need to do in the next 90 days to make that 200,000? Well, it'll be working on sales and marketing. It might be calling 5 new clients every day or every week. It might be speaking to a marketing company to see how they can work with copy. And if it's something like time, you need more time, whether it's employing another member of staff, putting an advert out, and that will become your 90-day plan. Now, the thing that I've seen people do, and because I've worked with people, when we used to do the action coach, they'd always do a 90-day planning session. And the one thing that I used to see people do, which would always mean that the wheels come off, is they'd sit in this 90-day plan and they'd go, right, I need to do everything I need to do for that year in the next 90 days. And they'd write this huge, massive list of all these things that they need to get done in the 90 days. And then, because they're full of great ideas at that point, and they're like, right, I need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and literally get to the end of the alphabet with the amount of things they've got listed down. And then when they actually go to work the following week, they'd be either A, overwhelmed with the amount that they've set them to do. And what happens when we get overwhelmed? Procrastination, anxiety, and all these things come in, imposter syndrome or whatever it is. You've got all this stuff to do. Then you're running a business and you get a fire to put out, you get a curveball put in. And then that you end up not just trying to do one thing, you just don't do anything because actually you've got all this other stuff to do. So when you're looking at your 90-day plan, you need to be really specific with like 2 or 3, maybe 4 things. I'd say probably 6 at the most that are critical things that you need to do in the next 90 days to create the success that you want to hit your target. So what you do with that 90-day plan is you put those together, and then you work out what your weekly tasks are and your weekly actions. And what I'd advise anyone to do, because I'm the kind of person that if I was to do this on a spreadsheet on my computer, that spreadsheet wouldn't get opened for the next 90 days. And I've done this and it doesn't. For me, I like to have things in front of me. So I'd write this plan, my 90-day plan, my weekly actions, and I print that off and I put that in as many places, whether it's in my office, at home, where it needs to be in my journal, when I open my journal, in my laptop case, that you can see it. Because the more you're reminded of what your weekly actions are, when you get a breather from business, putting your fires out, you will then go, right, okay, I've got 10 minutes, right, I need to update my social media, I need to phone these 5 clients, and I need to speak to my marketing person. And that's where you really start to get the traction within your business. Because the other option is that you don't do any of this, and then a year goes by, 2 years go by, and you're in the same place as where you are now. And where you are now, and there's a great saying I love in business, is what got you to where you are might not necessarily get you to where you want to go. And that's where you've always got to be developing and changing yourself, because we're all ambitious people, and generally when we start a business, we've got ambition and we want to go places. But this is why you need that roadmap of that 5-year plan, the 1-year plan, the 90-day plan, and then your weekly actions. And that's how you'll really get some traction with your business. And this is why I do this with the guys on my mastermind, because anyone on my mastermind, they're coming to me for me to mentor them, and they're investing money into me and themselves to scale their businesses and grow their businesses into being a business that works for them without them working in it. And that's why I do this, because I want them to get the maximum return on their investment. So they, after the 12 months of being with me, they either want to go again and want another 12 months with me, or they're creating their success they want to create and they're quite happy. And that's what I want from people. I want it to be a win-win situation. And that's why I want to share this episode with you guys, because I want anyone listening to this to understand the importance of goal setting. You've got the law of attraction. You put goals there, and then you make them happen, and you get the law of attraction off the back of that. It's really, really is a very key part of business, and it's something that I do a lot. It takes effort to remind myself to do it, but it is a key part of business, is to set goals. Like, you talk to some of the most successful people, and they do it because they've got a strategy, they've got a plan, and they've got a structure in place of where they want to go to, and then they reel it back and they then turn it into bite-sized chunks, and that's how they then get the traction to keep pushing on. So if you're not already doing it, make sure you do it. There's a really good book actually called The 12-Week Year, which really backs up what I'm saying here. And it's how you work your life in 90-day chunks, and how you can do your whole year in 90 days rather than just doing it over 12 months and getting to the end of the 12 months or the 9th month and going, right, I haven't hit my targets right now, I need to spend 3 months doing it. You can break that down, and you can even do it with your team and your staff at work. So it is really important to be able to put these targets in place within your businesses so you can create success. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be business. It can be your career, your personal life, weight loss, whatever it is, getting fit, getting your summer body, whatever it is, having a target and then breaking that down into bite-sized chunks and constantly reviewing. Now, another part of it, and this is another thing I do with my mentees, is every quarter we don't just then go again and go, right, what we're going to achieve for the next 3 months. It's also always a very good part to actually look back and go, right, what did we do in the last 90 days? What worked? What didn't? What were my challenges? So we can look at challenges. And more importantly, what are our wins? Because as you guys probably know, running businesses, we're constantly looking to the next thing, and we're never really celebrating our wins, because you solve one problem and you get another one. You solve another problem and you get another one. And it's this constant flow of problem solving, delivering work, and you're never really going, actually, I've done really well the last 3 months. And it's a really good opportunity to say, what have I done well? what are my wins? Let's celebrate those. And actually, what are my challenges? And what do I need to do now for the next 90 days? And then, if you smash all your goals, you might then change your year goal, your 5-year goal. If you don't, you might think, okay, maybe I was a bit too optimistic, and we'll change that. And you're constantly adapting and evolving. And in essence, you're failing forward. You're always looking back and going, what did I learn? What can I do differently? What can I adapt? And how can I move on? And how can I fail forward? And that's really it today. I just wanted to talk about goal setting because I think it is so valuable in any business or any part of your life to be doing that and to be trying to break down what in 5 years' time, if you say you want to make £10 million in 5 years' time, that seems like such a huge thing to do. But actually, if you break that down into bite-sized chunks, it's so much more achievable and it's not overwhelming. So thank you for listening to this episode. I hope that helps. If anybody wants to understand more or have a discovery call with me about how to apply to my tree surgery mastermind or actually just mentor with me, I don't just mentor tree surgery businesses. I do also mentor any type of business in general, and I can do that on a one-to-one basis. So if anyone wants to talk to me about that, please get in contact through any of the socials at the bottom of the podcast description. But thank you to listening today to the Fail Forward podcast. I hope this helps you all in your business journey, and I'll see you on the next episode.